So the Season 1 Reloaded update nerfed quite possibly the best sniper support gun in the game, and in this video we're going to be going over what are the 4 best options for sniper support weapons inside Warzone 2.0. Starting off with the new weapon in this game, we have the Chimera assault rifle. Now this gun is basically a sniper support weapon. You can't really use it for super long range because it doesn't really have the attachment capability to do that, but what it does do well is perform super good inside that medium range, and that is why I do think it's a solid sniper support choice. Now when it comes to the build, this is the perfect sniper support build. There's no other way to build this weapon besides if you're trying to do an aggressive SMG build. But when it comes to the stock, you do want to use the Ravage stock. It's going to give you sprint speed and it's going to give you aim down sight speed, which is obviously going to be a huge bonus here. Then we are using the VLK laser, which is going to give you the faster aim down sight and aiming stability. So overall it's going to help a bit with the recoil because aiming stability overall does help recoil, and then it also helps the sprint to fire speed, which is always very useful to make sure your gun is as snappy as possible. And then we are using the SA FENNEC barrel, which is the best barrel for this gun, especially if you're trying to extend the range of this weapon. Then you do get extra damage range, bullet velocity and recoil control, and it's the main reason we don't need to use an under barrel grip for this weapon. And then lastly, we are using the polar fire suppressor with this weapon, and that is because it is usually the best suppressor option. Now it is bugged a little bit, which doesn't give you the actual bonuses here, but usually helps with recoil, smoothness, and it also helps with bullet velocity and the sound suppression, of course. Now I will put the attachment tuning on the screen just now so you can see that, but I do want to quickly talk about the mag capacity here. Now 45 round mags are solid. Now you can use this inside duos and then trios and quads as well. Now you will need to get a couple of reloads in, to be perfectly honest with you, unless you're killing one enemy at a time. Now if you are playing solos, you can use the base mags, which are actually 30 rounds, and that actually works super well in solos. And then what you can do is equip an FTAC Ripper underbarrel, or you can choose a rear grip like the Bruin flash grip, which will help with movement speed. So both of those will be solid choices if you are playing solos. Now quickly showing you this one in the test range here, as you can see, it performs super well in that kind of medium range, but you can actually land shots at long range with this as well, and that's kind of one of the main reasons why this works great as a sniper support. As you can see, you can still hit those shots. Now it's not going to be as controlled as maybe a long range build for an assault rifle, but like I said, you can still land those shots at long range if you really have to. Next up, we have pretty much what a lot of people know to be one of the best sniper support options in this game, and obviously with the update, nothing really changed with the Vaznev, to be honest, so it's still going to be a solid choice, of course. Now when it comes to attachments, we're using the Demo X2 grip, and this is going to help with recoil control. There's the only few attachments that do help with recoil. It doesn't help an absolute ton, but it definitely gives you a bit extra control in the weapon, so it's definitely a solid choice. We are using the OLE laser, which is always going to be a great choice to give you that fast and snappy aim down sight time. We are using the X10 Black Kite. Now I quickly want to talk about this because it helps with sound suppression, bullet velocity, recoil smoothness, and also recoil control. Now the recoil control is the most important part of this, so that is something you do want to keep in mind. Now, the only other suppressor that's going to give you that for most of the SMGs in the game is the Schlammdampfner, or whatever it's called, the SA99 suppressor, but both of these are pretty much the same. Now again, you will see the attachment tuning on screen, and the 45 round mags is going to be pretty much the main attachment we're using here. It's the only one available, but to be perfectly honest, I think you need this regardless of what game mode you're playing, because this gun does run through ammo very quickly. Now next up, we have the nerfed KASTOV-762. Now this gun actually got nerfed with the Season 1 Reloaded update, and you'll see on screen the patch notes here. So it says small reduction to close damage, 3 hits to kill, requires at least 1 chest hit. Now this is going to be related to multiplayer, because obviously you're not going to get a 3-shot kill inside Warzone with this gun, but what that means is you need to basically aim for the chest more often than not, and essentially the limb damage is not going to be all that powerful. So basically it's still exactly the same as it was before, besides the fact that it may or may not in some cases take an extra shot to kill, which to be fair, it was killing ridiculously fast before, so it's still going to kill relatively quickly now. Now, the build of this gun doesn't really change here. We are using the demo X2 grip for the recoil control. Now, you can go for the true TAQ grip if you want a bit more in terms of aim down sight and sprint to fire speeds. Both are solid options. This is a well-rounded base weapon anyway, so you can get away with both of these. Personally, I'll take the extra control, especially if you're trying to land those shots at a distance. The OLE laser, as always, because you get that aim down sight speed and aiming stability and sprint to fire speed, so all these bonuses are perfect. And then we are using the Harbinger D20, which is going to help with the damage range, recoil smoothness, bullet velocity, so all that good stuff. Phase 3 grip is going to replace the FTAC Ripper because you don't actually get the FTAC Ripper on this gun, and they both have very similar stats, and I've done testing on this for underbarrel grips anyway, and they do very similar things, so the Phase 3 grip will be the next best option here. You'll now see the attachment tuning once again, and therefore we will discuss quickly the mag capacity options. Now, the base mags are 30 rounds, which again I do think will be very, very sufficient for solos. So if you do want to basically have an extra attachment slot somewhere, you can remove this if you play solos, but if you are playing any other game mode, then you will need 45 round mags, and the iron sights are very clean on this gun anyway, so if you do want the extra mag capacity, I do recommend it. Last but not least, we do have the MINIBAK SMG. Now, I do like this gun as a sniper support. It's very easy to use. Anyone can pick this up and use it. The iron sights are relatively clean as well, but for the most part, it's kind of hard to pick attachments for this gun because not a lot of the attachments actually give you huge benefits that you actually need, and that is just because the base weapon is so good. But when it comes to attachments here, we are using the demo X2 grip once again for the recoil control. You can also in this case use the true TAQ grip if you really want to. Again, having a bit more movement speed is always handy when it comes to sniper support weapons if you need it, but I do think the recoil control is more beneficial. Spetsnaz S10 stock is going to be the best stock without conning too much, but gives you a bit of aiming stability, which is always useful, and as you know, it does help with your aim and recoil control. Now, if you are building this as an SMG, the McAreve stock is the best option for movement speed, but like I said, we're using this as a sniper support. Then we are using the OLE laser, which is going to give you the aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and sprint to fire speed, all the good stuff that we're used to. And then we are using the Black Kite once again, but you can use that SA99 if you really want to, so both are solid options here. But like I said, I'm using the X10 Black Kite. What you'll see on screen now is the attachment tuning for the attachments of this weapon, and as you can see, we've only used 4 out of 5 attachment slots for the MINIBAK. Now, it's kind of hard to pick the final attachment because the iron sights are clean, so you don't really need an optic unless you really want one. Then obviously by all means you can go for that. The magazine attachment is kind of decent. I'd recommend this over the barrel attachment, to be perfectly honest. It does give you a bit more recoil control, but it does con your aim down sight, and you don't really want to con your aim down sight too much. And I really wish they had high velocity. I think that would have been the perfect perk to put on this gun, because none of these actually really help too much. They con your bullet velocity, which you don't really want to con, and they also con your recoil control, which again you don't really want to con. So again, it's kind of hard to choose that final attachment. The best probably option would just to be put an optic on there. So just to quickly show you this one in the firing range, again, you can land your shots at that medium range very easily. Long range is obviously going to be a bit more difficult because the damage does drop off. Not only that, you're not going to get super good control at that long range because it's not made for that range, of course. But again, in that kind of medium range, it's definitely very solid. But if you did enjoy this video, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 50k, and thank you very much for watching.